This girl emailed me and said that her and her friends went to the beach and saw a creature that chased them all the way home. The story is wild. So we're gonna call this girl Mary for the story. So Mary is from South Africa, and in December every year, her and her family go to their beach house. Mary was 14 at the time and her sister was 17 at the time. She looked up to her sister. She used to follow her around everywhere and just tag along with her and her friends wherever they went. Mary loved hanging out with the older kids, and this wasn't a problem for her sister because her and her sister were very close. She said that every time they would go out, they would like go walk around with random kids on the streets that they would meet, and apparently by the sea there it's pretty safe, so they would do this at night a lot. So one night it was her sister, and two other boys. We're gonna call them Kai and Jaden. She said that the houses there were built on the side of a mountain, and because they weren't on sea level, the streets were very steep. So on this night they're walking down one of these hills and they're walking towards kind of like this construction site where they were building a house from like this specific slab of concrete, and they chose to kind of sit there because you could look over the houses and you could see the horizon of the sea from where they were sitting. Now Mary's sister has this gift where she always knows when something bad is about to happen. She starts to feel off, and Mary always notices when this happens because her sister will start scanning her surroundings and she'll get very stiff and quiet. Her sister also says that when this starts to happen, she gets like this tingling feeling in her feet, which is really weird because that happens to me. I know exactly what she's talking about. But her sister pulls Mary aside and goes, listen, something's gonna happen tonight. I feel off. I know something's gonna happen tonight. I'm nervous. Now Mary didn't really take her sister seriously at this point because her sister was always trying to scare her because Mary would get scared pretty easily, and Mary would get scared pretty easily because she's had a lot of experiences in her life. She actually sent me another story which was mind-blowingly terrifying, which I will tell you guys soon, but I digress. So she just thought her sister was trying to scare her. So they go back to the concrete slab where those two boys are, and they're just sitting there and they're talking and they're laughing and they're having a good time. Well, at least Mary and the two boys are, because she can tell that her sister is not having a good time. 10 minutes goes by and she's looking at her sister, and her sister just looks paranoid. Well, a little bit more time passes and her sister's paranoia actually starts to calm down and she starts engaging in conversation. She's relaxed just out of nowhere. This would be premature because 5 minutes pass and suddenly they start to hear these rocks rolling down the side of the hill. And then they hear twigs cracking behind her sister about 5 meters up. So out of curiosity, obviously they want to know what's behind them, so they look. And when she turns around, she said that what she saw was the most horrifying thing she had ever seen in her life. She said there was this massive creature on all fours with skinny, horrible limbs, and they were like pinned straight. She said that its back was bent unnaturally with its spine and bones poking visibly. It was easily 6 feet tall on all fours. She said it was pretty dark outside, but from the street light, if it was coming from a street lamp, she could see this thing clear as day. Either it didn't have eyes or they were closed because she saw nothing there. She did see its mouth. It had this very wide slit for a mouth. Her sister just starts screaming, and the two boys turn around, they see it too, and they just book it. Now they ran to the right of them where the road kind of goes down, and her sister was wearing sandals, so she was running slower than the rest of them. As her sister is running, her sister starts hearing this cracking noise. You know how when you crack your knuckles, that sound that it makes? She said that she was hearing that, but it was prominent, it was loud. And then she starts hearing this clicking sound, and so she turns around and she sees this thing chasing them, just on all fours, just galloping behind them, making this clicking and cracking sound, like its bones were cracking. She said the way that its limbs were moving was just unnatural. It was bending in weird ways and it just looked wrong. So they all run into the house, they finally get home, and they just shut the cottage doors and they lock it. She said that after they got home, they were so terrified that those guys actually ended up spending the night at their house because they were too afraid to walk across the street where they lived. They did not want to go outside. And apparently her parents stayed in a bigger house that was next to their smaller house, so they had like their own little house that they were staying in. Next morning when they all woke up, the boys finally went over to their house and they went over to their parents' house, and they were crying, they were sobbing, they were so terrified, and they were telling their parents what happened, but their parents didn't believe them. Their parents don't believe in anything paranormal, and they definitely don't believe in creatures. And Mary said that she didn't believe in creatures either, and neither did her sister until this happened. And now they know that every time her sister gets that weird feeling, that it is paranormal, and she said that it's pretty handy to this day. But probably the weirdest thing, and one of the scariest parts of the story, I would say, is that her sister to this day still sees that thing inside of their house. So I don't know if that's a trauma response or if she's actually like being haunted by this creature. And if so, what could it be? Like, what would this be? Because I know some of you are going to say SW, maybe some of you are going to say Wendigo. You know, I don't know. I don't want anyone to feel disrespected. I have spoken to quite a few people who are Native American who, because I've asked, like, is it disrespectful to tell stories about SWs, and every single one of them has said no, as long as you don't say the name. That's the only part that is disrespectful, is when you say the name, because it's very real. I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm just saying, you know, I would actually like to know if someone in the comment section is Native American. Can you please tell me if it is disrespectful to tell a story about an SW? I would love to know that, because if you feel it is, I don't want to tell those stories. But if it is just the name, then I will tell the stories. But I would like to hear it from someone who is Native American, please. Like I said, I've spoken to Native American people before, and that's what they said. But like, if you could tell me in the comments, I would love that. Now, I did some research, and I couldn't find anything in the South African culture that matches the description of the creature that she described. So there's that. But drop what you guys think it is in the comments. What do you think this was? What could it have been? Drop your opinions, your thoughts, your suggestions, and then as always, please be respectful. And with that being said, I'm now going to do my favorite part, which is the shout out. Stephania._2. Thank you so much. Your comment was so nice. It made my day. I love that you fall asleep to my stories. First of all, I fall asleep to scary stories too, which I've been told is bad, because the last 30 minutes before you go to bed is supposed to be very positive, because that is going to like shape how you feel the next morning. But I feel fine. I love scary stories. So but there's that. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love that I can be that for somebody else. I love that you like my content that much. It gets me so excited that someone likes my content enough to listen to it every single night. I just love it. So thank you for giving me that gift. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for being kind and commenting and pushing my videos out. I'm so lucky to have you here, and I love you, girl. Bella Boo 5337. Thank you so much for what you said. You said that I was the best spooky storyteller, and that is so nice, because there are so many good spooky storytellers on here that I love so much, and that's such a nice thing to say. Thank you so much. I work so hard at these stories. You have no idea what that means to me. You made my day also, and I hope you know how much I appreciate you. Thank you for being part of my community and being kind and leaving comments and pushing my videos out. I am so glad that you are here, and I love you, girl. And with that being said, my name is Kaisa, and I tell you your paranormal experiences on here like probably 5 nights a week. So if you're into that, hit that follow button, and I just need you to do 3 things for me. What are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. What's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs. This girl emailed me and said that there was a jinn attached to her neighbor in Saudi Arabia and eventually took the lives of one of her family members. We're gonna call this girl Ashley. So when Ashley was 10 years old, she had a neighbor move in next door, and we're gonna call this neighbor Sarah. Sarah was in her late 20s and had just gotten married to an older man. Sarah had just given birth to a baby boy, and Ashley's mom kind of befriended Sarah and was kind of like a big sister to her. Now Ashley's housemaid, whose name was Sue, befriended Sarah's housemaid, whose name was Jenny. Sarah spent most of her time alone because her husband was away most of the time, but there was one thing that she really liked to do. Every Sunday, she would dress up, put on music, make Arabic coffee, and burn Arabic incense. Almost like she had guests over, except for she was always alone. Well, on one occasion, Sarah had to go visit family for a few days, and she had left her housemaid Jenny at home. So one day, Jenny's home alone. She's just chilling, doing what maids do, I guess, and the doorbell rings. So Jenny goes over to the door and she opens it. She thinks that it's Sarah's husband at this point. She opens it. It is not. It was a man, except for this person did not look like a man. He had on traditional Saudi clothing. So he's wearing a soap, which is like a traditional dress for men, and then he's wearing a shamag, which is something that they put on their head. You've probably seen it before. The thing is, his skin was so clear, it was almost like he had no veins, but the most chilling part was that he had red eyes. So she's just staring at him like, what the hell is this? She's terrified, and he's looking right back at her, and he's just staring at her, and then he says, where's Sarah? It has been days. I miss the smell of coffee and incense. Tell her to come home. The tone was not that of one who was asking. He was demanding. Jenny's just staring at him, terrified. She didn't utter a word. She didn't know what to say. And while she's sitting there stunned, he just grabs her by the arm, squeezes, and she faints and falls to the floor. So Jenny wakes up later on. He's not there anymore. And the first thing she does is she looks at her arm, and there are red marks on her arm where this thing had grabbed her. So of course, when Sarah came home, Jenny was like, look, this man came to the door when you were gone. He had red eyes. He had no veins on his face, and he was demanding that you come home. He was saying that he was missing the smell of incense and coffee, and then he grabbed me and I fainted. And Sarah just looks at her and is completely unfazed. Almost like what happened was normal to her. But that wouldn't be the end of it. So a little bit later on, Ashley and her family decide that they're going to go on vacation vacation. And so Ashley's mom lets her maid Sue stay over at Jenny's house, so Sarah's. Well, they go on vacation, they come back, and Sue comes back home, and Sue is like, tells Ashley's mom, like, look, don't ever let me go back there ever again. There's something that is there. There's a man that's there. I saw him everywhere. She said that the maid, or the other maid, Jenny, and Sue, who was over at her house, they would sleep on the couch downstairs because they were so scared, because apparently upstairs where Sarah was is where they would either see or feel this presence all the time. So I can only imagine how Jenny is feeling living there now. Now, Ashley said that when she was little, she remembers going over to Sarah's house with her mom, and she said that the house just had the strangest feeling, and she still remembers that specific feeling to this day. She said that Sarah would also just happen to know things that was going on in other people's lives, like their neighbors, their other neighbors. Very private things that she would only know if she was there with them. She even said that she knew things that happened in Ashley's home that Ashley's mother never told Sarah about. Now, for the next part, I am going to give a trigger warning, because if you are sensitive to babies passing, I mean, I know I just said it, but like, how else can I explain it? You might want to scroll. So the baby she doesn't explain how it passes, but this goes on for a year, and eventually Sarah's baby passes away. He got sick out of nowhere, and he passed away from his illness, and Ashley's mom and her always believed that this had to do with whatever that thing was, which they believe is a jinn. After this, Sarah ended up moving away, and they believe that this thing was attached to Sarah for obvious reasons, but also because when she moved away, another family moved into that house, and that family is doing fine. Nothing has happened to that family at all. So whatever this was somehow attached to Sarah, and they don't really know what it was, or why it was attached to her, or why it inevitably ended up taking her baby, or maybe it didn't. What do you guys think? Do you think it ended up taking her baby? Do you think this was a jinn? Why do you think it was attached to Sarah? And do you think Sarah was good? I don't really get the feeling she was, and the reason why is because when her maid was harmed, she didn't care, and I would care. That would bother me, because you have to care about them. If they're living in your house, they're doing things for you every day. Like, I would care about someone who is doing stuff for me, waiting on me hand and foot every day, you know? Like, that's wrong not to care and not to be fazed by that. So I don't know if Sarah was a good person, but maybe I'm wrong. Also, maybe someone from Saudi Arabia can step in here and tell us whether you think this was a jinn or not. If not, what you think it was. And if you do you think it took their baby? You know, same questions that I asked everybody else. I don't know. There's so many unanswered questions here. I'd love to know where Sarah was today. I would also love to know, one question I have is, how is Sarah doing after her baby passed, right? So lots of unanswered questions. Drop them, any comments, suggestions, questions that you have below. And I know a lot of the questions can't really be answered, but some of them might be able to. But yeah, as always, please be respectful. And now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is a shout outs. First shout out is going to, and I love this name, it's me, da fuck. I love that name. That's funny. You're so sweet. You're so nice. Your comment was so nice. Thank you so much. You said you're my favorite spooky storyteller, and I know others feel the same. And that whole entire comment, I just smiled so big. That was such a nice thing to say. Thank you so much for saying that and for making my day. And thank you for being a part of my community and being kind. And thanks for me being your favorite. And thank you so much for, commenting and pushing my videos out. I'm so glad that you are here, and I hope you're here to stay. And I look forward to seeing more comments from you. You are the best. I love you. Steps.n.stories. You're so cute. You said that you love my stories so much and that you listen to them all the time, and you always have your AirPods in and you're listening to them while you're doing different tasks. And I love that so much. That's so exciting to be that for someone. I will never get over being on someone else's screen and having them enjoy my stories so much. It makes me so happy. And when people tell me things like that, it makes my day. So you guys always make my day, seriously. So I'm so lucky to have you here. Thank you so much for commenting and telling me that. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for being a part of my community. I'm so glad that you are here, and I hope you know how much I care about you as an individual. I love you. And my name is Kaisa, and I tell your paranormal experiences on here, or ones that you recommend to me, about 5 nights a week. So if you're into that, hit that follow button. And I just need you to do 3 things for me. What are those? Keep sending me scary stories. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs. This girl said that she went to a psych ward and had some type of creature terrorizing her the entire time. This story horrified me. So we're gonna call this girl Melissa for the story. So when Melissa was 13 years old, she did struggle with mental health, unfortunately, and she was admitted to a psych hospital. She lives in South Africa, but the hospital that she went to was not near where she lived or the area that she lived in at all. So she gets to the hospital hospital, when she first steps foot into the reception, she has this feeling of pure dread. Her hands start shaking. She gets jittery. She had this spike of adrenaline. She did not feel good at all. So her au pair, who is her guardian, signs her in and they take her into the hospital. So she goes in, she meets the adolescent group. She's the youngest one there, so she does feel kind of weird, but there's nothing that she can really do about this. So they have tea time, and then 9 p.m. rolls around like shortly after that, and it's time for them to take medication and they get sent to their wards. Now, it's important to note that all the girls slept in one 6-bedroom room and all the boys in another. For context, her bed was put in the corner of the room so she could see everything from her point of view. This was the layout right here of her room. There's also no windows in this room. There's just like a locked glass door with a gray blur film. That night, she falls asleep. She wakes up in the middle of the night and she doesn't really know why, and there's no clock in the room, so she can't really see what time it is. Now, there was some faint light coming from the blur film, and it kind of gave her some vision of the dark. So she's kind of looking around in the dark. Her eyes aren't really adjusted yet, when suddenly they do adjust. And the second they adjust, she saw something that she says she still has not forgotten today. Behind one of the other girls' beds, where there's a closet, she sees this face poking from the closet door. From that distance, she could only make out its eyes, and she said that this was enough to haunt her. She said it was looking directly into her eyes, and that she truly cannot even describe the evil that was coming from this thing. Its eyes were downturned like this, but they were wide open, looking at her like this. She was 100% sure that this thing was not human. The pupils were just too vivid from the distance she was looking at it, and its eyes, how wide they were open, it was just not normal. Her hands start sweating like they did when she got there, and she is just sitting there in cold terror. She's just staring at this thing, and this thing is just staring back at her. They're in a staring match for like a minute. She feels like she can't look away until finally she just slams her head down on the rock pillow that they gave her. She did not dare move the entire night. The sun finally comes up and that gray light turned brighter. And as she's sitting there, like thanking God that finally the light is coming, she hears bare feet just slapping the ground, running into the bathroom area. So that Wednesday, she ends up getting a clock from her parents when they come and visit. And she started noticing something. Every single night when she woke up, it would be around 3:59, 4, or 4:01 a.m. and she could never fall back asleep. Well, that Saturday, her and the adolescents are all chilling in the gym. It's nighttime and the nurse is watching them, and they're not allowed to go to the bathroom without, or go anywhere without the nurse walking with them, ever. She was used to it by now though, so she goes up to the nurse and she asks the nurse if she can go to the bathroom next to the nurse's station down the corridor. Well, the nurse actually tells her, yeah, you can go, and you can go by yourself since it's right here. So she's like, bet. So she starts walking down the little corridor down to where the bathroom is, and there's a window there. It's on the way to the bathroom from the station, and as she's walking down the hall, she notices that it's getting very quiet. It is silent. She has this very eerie feeling, and then it turns into danger. She feels like she's not safe, and then her hands start sweating, and she starts to shake again. So she starts speed walking past that window, and as she's speed walking past that window, she sees something out of the corner of her eye, and she slowly turns, and clear as day, she sees that face, but not just the eyes this time. It had rotten teeth with roots showing. Those eyes as wide as they were before, and those penetrating pupils. So she rushes to the bathroom and she just pretends like she did not see it, because that's the only like she just feels safer doing that. So she goes to the bathroom and she just shuts the door, and she's just standing there in pure terror when a realization hits her. She is on the second story. So how was that at the second story window? She said there wasn't even a windowsill there. She said that this was not paranoia, this was not visions, that wasn't part of like her mental health problem, like she was just going through something. This was real. That night, she is so scared that she sleeps with another girl in her bed. She's breaking the no contact rule because she is so terrified. She did not care. So the whole next week goes by, from that Saturday to the next Sunday, and nothing happens. She thought maybe it had gone away, but her guard was still up. So it's now Monday on the third week, and she's supposed to be discharged that Wednesday. So she is elated. So Monday night, she gets into bed. She's talking to the other girls. They're chatting, just hanging out, when they all get sleepy and they decide they're going to go to bed. Like usual though, she wakes up at 4 a.m. This time she is facing the wall, and she does not feel safe. Her hands start sweating, her body gets jittery, and she gets this cold flush. She vividly remembers something heavy leaning over the edge of her bed and breathing down her neck. She was frozen. Tears are forming in her eyes, and suddenly she just gets this adrenaline rush and she bolts up. She looks behind her and nothing is there. Yet again, no sleep. Next night, Tuesday night, her last night there. This was by far the worst night. Now, she had a mixture of emotions because she was leaving it all, but she was also leaving the other people that she had met there behind. And when you're in those situations, you form bonds with people. This happened to me when I was in rehab. So I understand the way that she was feeling, but she does go to bed that night with joy. So she falls asleep, And this time, she wakes up at 1 a.m. She had this really bad urge to go to the bathroom, so she gets up and she goes to the bathroom, and she goes to the very end stall. So the bathroom lights are motion censored, but they're only motion censored from outside of the stalls. So if you were showering and the motion sensor went off, then you would have to ask somebody from the outside to activate it. So she just finishes her business, but then she decides that she's gonna sit on the floor for a while. So she's sitting on the floor when suddenly the lights just go off. Now she just keeps sitting there for a minute because it's not abnormal, right? They're motion censored, but then she decides she's gonna get up. Before she even opens the door, the sensor light goes off. So she figures that one of the other girls has come to the bathroom as well. So she shrugs it off and she walks out, but as she is walking out, the sensor light just shuts off on her. So she's standing there at the bathroom sink, wondering why that just happened, when she hears clear as day, Melissa. Something was whispering her name from the bathroom stall, except for the only problem was it sounded exactly like one of the other girls. Her name was Tati. So she answers her and she tells her to stop playing tricks on her because she knows what she's been going through. So at this point she's like, okay, I'm walking back to the bedroom because she's obviously trying to scare me. So as she's walking back to the bedroom, Melissa, she hears it again. It's coming from the corner, except for it's much louder this time. So she walks into the room realizing that it's not Tati because Tati is in her bed. She slowly gets into bed and she's facing the wall, and suddenly she can feel something crouching at the foot of her bed. Mind you, she's already in bed at this point. Her feet are at the end of the bed, and whatever this thing is grabs her by the ankle. It starts tugging her off of the bed. She does not know what to do at this point. She starts screaming as loud as she can. It lets go immediately and she just starts sobbing. It woke everybody up. The nurse comes running in and everybody is trying to calm her down, including the nurse. Well, the nurse ends up finally calming her down, and somehow, because this always happens with you guys, she falls back asleep. A few hours later pass by. She wakes up to this clicking sound, and it's coming from the top of the closet next to her bed. She said she did not even dare to look. The next morning, she got all of her things packed. She was ready to get the hell out of there, and she did. From that day on, even if she takes 10 melatonin pills, she wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning every single night, still to this day. And that was a very long time ago. So before we go into the commentary, which I barely have any time for, I have to tell you guys, when I was telling the story, when I whispered, Melissa, my Alexa is right next to me, and she whispered back, was that for me? I almost shit my pants. What did you guys think about that story? Oh my gosh, that was crazy. What did you guys think this was? Can you imagine being in one of those places and having something like that happen to you, and literally you can't tell anybody there that you're seeing stuff like that, like any of the nurses or anything, because they're going to keep you there longer, and you have to stay in your own bed. There's no way out. Like, oh my, I can't even imagine that. But tell me your thoughts, opinions, suggestions, because I have no time for the shout outs or any other commentary. I'm so sorry. I love you guys so much. Thoughts, opinions, suggestions. What do you think this was? What's the scariest part of the story? I want to know what you guys think the scariest part of the story was. I love you so much. My name is Kaisa. I have no time for the outro, but I love you guys so much. Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a spooky night. Spooky kisses, haunted Alex. I swear to God, I think Coraline is a true story because I lived part of that movie when I was 5 years old, years before it came out. So when I was about 5 years old, around 2004, my family and I lived in this small 3-bedroom apartment. So I would always sleep with my mom and dad when I was 5 years old, and I remember that their bed was like against the wall because that's always where I used to sleep. So my father would be in the middle and my mom would be on the outside of the bed, and it was a pretty large bed. So one morning I wake up and I feel conscious, right? I feel conscious, but I don't know if I was awake or not. And I remember seeing this small door on the wall, like right when I woke up. It was right next to me. But the problem is that this door wasn't normally there. The door was like this dark gray color, and it was like tin, and it was this rundown small door. I decide that I'm gonna open the door, right? So I go over to the door, I open it up, and then I look back to see if my mom and dad are asleep. They were sound asleep. So at this point, I'm debating whether I should crawl in. Let's just say that it was dark in there, but I did decide that I was gonna crawl inside. Why? I do not know. Mind you, all this felt so real to me. I could feel everything. I could smell the room. I could feel the cold air. Like literally, I could still feel it to this day. So I decide to stand up. Now, I am scared at this point, right? I'm only 5 years old, but I am still curious. Standing there for a second when I hear psst at the small door. So I look back, right? It's my mother. She has these pitch black eyes. I'm telling you, her eyes were so dark it seemed shadowed. I remember she's on the outside of the door, right? So I'm looking at her from inside of this dark little place that I'm at, and she's on the outside of the door. So I'm looking at her with these dark freaking eyes, and she starts smiling at me, and the smile was so terrifying I cannot even explain it to you. And she just slams the door shut behind me. So at this point I am terrified. I start screaming, Mom, Mom, Mom. I'm trying to wiggle the door. The door is not opening. I'm totally trapped in this dark place. I remember literally hyperventilating, and then I kind of just like somehow calmed myself down, and I just put my hands over my face like this because I was so terrified. I just didn't want to look at anything. A few seconds go by, right? And I hear something behind me in this dark room. I hear like this whimper, like this small, quiet cry. So at this point, I'm like, no. And I just turn my head like super slowly. And I peek through my fingers to see this small old-fashioned bed with like this metal bed frame. It's in like the left corner of the room, right? And on top of the bed is like this glowing white blanket. Something or someone was underneath that blanket. So I know this sounds insane, but I was just a curious kid. So I walk slowly over to the bed, reach for the blanket at that point. But before I could even grab it, 3 kids just come flying out of the blanket, like literally flying out of the blanket. And these little kids are see-through, right? So I'm panicking. I fall to the floor because it scared me so bad. So I'm looking up at them and I can see that there is 1 little boy and 2 girls. They're clothed in like these old-fashioned clothes, and they were hovering above me saying, "Help me, help me." Then they start talking to me, and I'm like talking back to them at this point, but I cannot remember exactly what they were saying or what I was saying to them. I just sat there with them for like what felt like 30 minutes until finally the oldest girl that was there was like, "Listen, you need to go back home. You need to go." She starts leading me to the door, but I remember that I cannot go through that door. I couldn't go through it earlier, so I tell her that. I'm like, "Listen, I already tried to go through this door. It wouldn't open." And that's when she tells me, "You can't go through life panicking. Calmly try to open the door again." So I try it and it opens. And as I'm looking out into the room, it's extremely blurry. Like I cannot really see what's on the outside of it. But I did see my mom and dad, and they were still like sleeping on the bed. And so I turn around and I thank the girl. But at this point, I'm curious. I'm not really that scared anymore. So I ask her, like, "How did you pass away?" And that's when she said, "We were curious, just like you were." And then she floats back to the bed with the rest of the other 2 kids, and they just get under this glowing blanket. I crawled out of that place as fast as I possibly could. I go and lay down next to my dad, and I fall asleep. A few hours later, I wake up, and I get out of bed, and I look over to where that door was, and it's not there anymore. So I go downstairs, and I see my mom making breakfast. I acted like it never happened. I never said anything to my mom, but whether it happened to me or not is not the crazy part. This is the crazy part. Fast forward to 2009, and there's advertisements everywhere about the movie Coraline. So I watched the movie maybe 2 years later, like I think it was like 2011-ish, I think at this point. And I tell you now, I was shocked, flabbergasted, like stunned when I saw that movie. When I saw that, I literally questioned whether I had told anybody about that story before. I questioned myself that, but I didn't. I never told anybody that story before. Now, if you watch that movie and you go to 58 minutes and you see the scene, you see exactly what I saw that night in that exact room. Those exact kids. And the mom looks so similar to my mom. It's scary. The only thing, there was no door. When I tell you, I freaked out after that movie finished. Who would believe me? Is this even real? I actually kept this to myself until right now. I've never told anybody before, ever. But I wanted to tell somebody because every time I tried, I would literally choke up. So I had to tell Kaisa, which is me, because that wasn't my story. That was a story that was sent in to me. What do you guys think about that? That is pretty wild. I will say I've never seen the movie Coraline, but I've heard about it. I actually don't even know the plot. I know nothing about it at all. I guess I need to watch it because it's a horror film and people talk about it all the time, and I cannot believe I have not seen it. Guys, when I tell you I've been so bad, I used to love scary movies, but I'm doing spooky stories and working all the time now, so I never get a chance to like sit down and enjoy a scary movie. So I have never seen that movie, so shame on me, but I have to watch it now. I have to watch it now because that is crazy. The whole mom thing when she slams the door is so scary. I don't know how much this was, I don't know how similar this was to the exact plot of Coraline, but to what she made it sound like it was very similar, so I'm assuming it's very similar. You guys will have to tell me in the comments, but what do you guys think this was? Like, this is so strange because it's a movie, right? This is something that someone directed, and did they have the same experience as maybe she had, or was this just a huge coincidence? Because she said those were the exact kids. So did she have a premonition of the movie? Or do those kids really exist? Like, that's wild to me. So leave all your thoughts, opinions, and suggestions in the comments, please. And also let me know if you guys like it when I tell stories in first person. I figured this one would be easiest to tell in first person, but if you like it better when I tell them the other ways, drop in the comments. If you like it better this way, drop in the comments. If you don't really have a preference, then you can also drop that in the comments, because I want to know going forward what you would like me to do. And sorry I haven't posted in a few days, you guys. I have been on a business trip, and that's the only reason why. So this isn't going to be something that's normal. I'm going to continue to post a regular schedule. But drop your thoughts, opinions, suggestions down below. As always, please be respectful. And now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Flip flop for you _ Thank you so much for the comment you left. That was so nice. You have no idea how much I appreciated that. It just felt so genuine the way that you said it, and it made me feel so good. You said that I was a good storyteller, and you went to like detail of why, and I really appreciated that more than you know. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for leaving that comment. Thank you for being a part of my community, and thank you for being kind. It just made my day, and I hope you know that, and I just wanted to let you know that you are the best. I love you. Joni778, you said that I was your favorite. Yes, I love that so much. Thank you. I love hearing that. Thank you so much. You have no idea what that means to me. That means so much to me, because there are so many amazing creators on here that tell spooky stories, and to be your favorite is just such an honor. So thank you so much for saying that. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for supporting me and leaving nice comments and pushing my videos out. I hope that you are here to stay. I cannot tell you how much that meant to me. I love you. And with that being said, my name is Kaisa, and I tell your paranormal experiences on here, or ones that you recommend to me, about 5 nights a week. So if you're into that, hit that follow button, and I just need you to do 3 things for me. What are those? Keep sending me your scary stories, have a safe night, and what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. I just cracked my voice. Love you so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hug. This girl emailed me saying that there was something inside of her house that was mimicking her and her family, that she thinks was trying to trade places with her. So we're gonna call this girl Sammy for the story. Sammy said that she's never really told anyone this story because it sounds so ridiculous, but it's something that happened to her a few years ago in her house that still haunts her to this day. So her mom is a nurse, and so her mom would sometimes pick up random shifts at night, and so on this night, her and her sister were just home alone. Her sister's name, we're gonna call her Cindy. So her mom goes to work, and a little bit later, Sammy is in her room, and she's just chilling on her phone. She's kind of watching TV at the same time, and her sister Cindy had already gone to bed. Around 11ish, she hears the front door open downstairs, and when you live somewhere for long enough, you kind of just know the sound of the front door opening, right? It sounded exactly like that, the latch and the little creak that it always made. So she just assumes that her mom had gotten home early, and she was right, because a couple seconds later, she hears her mom go, "Sammy." Just normal, the way she always said it. So that's when Sammy shouts back, "Yeah," but her mom doesn't say anything back. So she waits for a couple of seconds to see if she's gonna say anything back, and she doesn't. So she assumes that she just goes into the kitchen, and then bzzz, her phone goes off. So she picks up her phone, she looks at the text message, and it's a text from her mom. So she opens up the text, kind of wondering why her mom is texting her while she's down in the kitchen, and it says, "I'm running late, I won't be home for an hour." And Sammy's stomach just dropped. She knows that she heard that front door open, and she knows that she heard that voice. So because Sammy was just born differently, she decides that she's gonna get up and she's gonna go see if her mom is downstairs. So she gets up and she goes to the top of the stairs to look down, and the whole downstairs is pitch black. So Sammy's just standing there horrified when Cindy comes out of her room, and she looks half asleep, and she's like, "Did mom just tell us to come downstairs?" And that's when Sammy just kind of looks at her and goes, "No, she's not home yet." So Cindy just stares at her for a second. She's just standing there when she finally says, "Then who called my name?" Well, interestingly enough, they both decide that they're just going to laugh this off because they didn't really know what else to do. But Cindy decides to go into Sammy's room with her, and they're just going to watch TV. About 5 minutes pass when they start to hear something. Someone is moving around downstairs. Actual footsteps. Not loud, but definitely someone walking around in the kitchen. So they both just stop talking and listen. And then a couple seconds later, a voice comes from the bottom of the stairs in their mother's voice, and it says, "Girls." Sammy said that something about this voice was off. She doesn't really know how to explain it. It sounded right, but then also off. And I hear this a lot when I get these stories. And that's when she hears it. "Sammy," but in her own voice, exactly like her voice, same tone, same everything. And they just sat there completely quiet. Neither one of them moved a muscle. And they hear, "Don't, don't, don't." Slowly footsteps coming up the staircase, and they stop right outside of Sammy's door. Then they just hear someone knocked 3 times on Sammy's door. Then, "Sammy, open the door." this time in her mom's voice. Sammy doesn't say anything. About a minute passes and they hear the actual front door downstairs open. That's when they hear from downstairs, "Girls, I'm home." And that thing outside of the door just stopped moving, completely silent. Then they heard footsteps walking down their hallway away from their room, but they did not go downstairs. They went toward the attic hatch at the end of the hallway. They end up telling their mom, and their mom checks the entire house, and she's like, "Listen, I checked everywhere. Nothing is here." Well, later that night, they're all sitting in the living room and they're just watching TV when they hear something coming from the ceiling above them. "Sammy," in her mom's voice. Quiet, but clear. For a long time, nothing like that happened again, and so they all just kind of convinced themselves that it was their minds playing tricks on them. But something happened a few months ago that brought this all back. But one night, it's around 1 a.m., and she's just laying in bed, and she's just scrolling on her phone, and her door is open, and the hall light is on. Cindy's room is right across from hers, and she hears Cindy's door open, and then she sees Cindy's shadow pass by her door. She assumed that she was going to the bathroom or going to get a drink or something, but she thought it was kind of weird because the way that Cindy was walking was super slow. She was walking very slowly past her door. Now, she just saw her out of the corner of her eye, but it definitely looked like her. Same height, same long hair. So she goes, "Cindy?" She didn't answer. She just keeps walking down the hallway. So she assumes that maybe she has headphones in or something, so she decides that she's going to get up and follow her. But when she walks out into the hallway, nobody is there. Completely empty. She even checked the bathroom thinking that maybe she went in there and she just didn't see her, but the light was off and nobody was in there. That's when she started to feel that same weird feeling that she felt before. So she goes over to Cindy's door and she slowly pushes it open. She's in her bed, completely asleep, under her covers. And her phone was just sitting on the table next to her. Now at this point, she's just kind of standing there for a second looking at her because she's trying to think if her brain just imagined her walking down the hallway. Then Cindy moves slightly in her sleep and she mumbles something. And then from somewhere above the hallway, she hears quiet footsteps as if something is shifting their weight. It was right above the attic hatch. She said that she did not sleep well that night. Sammy doesn't live there anymore, but she says that every once in a while she'll stay there and she'll hear quiet footsteps on the landing, or she'll hear someone quietly say her name. When she moved out, she did a bunch of research on the house and the occurrences that she was having because she was clearly confused about why this was happening, and she also wanted to know why it was targeting her. The only answer that the deep wormhole of Google gave her was that it was a mimic. It possibly wanted to trade places with her, and she said that even saying that makes her eyes water. She says that now whenever she visits her mom and Cindy, that she's always drawn to the upstairs, but fear throws reality at her real quick, which she supposes is quite fortunate. There's come a time now where she does no longer spend the night there. Whenever she has to watch her sister, she now comes to her house. She said that one final strange thing is that her dog is a fluffy brown border collie that loves everyone. But whenever she has her sister over at her house, he'll bark, cower, and growl, like almost like he knows the darkness that she's living in, she said. What did you guys think of that story? It always freaks me out so much when I get these stories about mimics and they change voices. And especially when they change into your own voice. Imagine hearing your own voice say something to you from the other side of the door. Oh my gosh, and like telling you to open the door. It's all too much. I seriously and genuinely do not know what I would do. I have never experienced a mimic myself, but as you guys know, if you watch my stories, like all of them, you know that my mom has one, or she has some type of doppelganger or something, because both my stepdad and father have seen her, like physically seen her with their eyes, and they didn't ever meet. I don't even think they ever met each other. Maybe once or twice they did, but they certainly never talked about those two things, and my mom didn't tell either of them the stories. So, and they were both genuinely terrified, my mom said, when these occurrences happened. So I know that this can be so terrifying. I just don't know firsthand, and I cannot imagine experiencing this. So tell me what you guys think of the story. What do you think it is? Do you think it was trying to trade places with her? That's a new one. I haven't heard that before. And do you think it was in fact a mimic? And also, what do you think the scariest part of the story was? I would like to know that as well. So drop all your thoughts, opinions, and suggestions down below in the comments. But as always, be respectful. You guys, there were so many disrespectful comments in my last video. If you have to leave disrespectful comments underneath a stranger's video, especially when it's not even my story, it's someone else's story, and you're being rude for no reason to a stranger, you need to look at yourself and figure out why you don't like yourself. Because it genuinely makes me feel bad when people do that, because it shows how little confidence you have in yourself. Just to post something on the internet in hopes that other people will see it and agree with you or laugh with you, or it's so low vibration, and I won't have it in my comments. And I really truly hope that you guys that are doing that you find some peace with yourselves. I'm sorry I do not have time for the shout outs, but I do want to apologize that I have not posted this much this week. I've been on a business trip in Miami and it has been very busy, so I will go back to a normal posting schedule next week, but I will be posting tomorrow and I will be posting on Thursday as well and Saturday, so it'll be okay this week from now on, I think. But I love you guys so much. My name is Kaisa. I tell your paranormal experiences on here about 5 nights a week, so if you're into that, hit that follow button, and I just need you to do 3 things for me. One of those, keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. What's the third one? Stay with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs. This girl emailed me and said that not only did she go through hell in her extremely haunted house in the UK, but she also encountered a creature that was 3 different species of animals. We're gonna call this girl Kate for the story because she didn't even give me her name, so I'm assuming she wanted this to be extremely anonymous. So in 2012, Kate was 10 years old. Her and her family had just moved into their current house that they live in now, and when they very first moved in, everything was pretty normal. The only challenge for them was adjusting to the new area, the new surroundings, and leaving behind what was familiar. So nothing felt unusual in the beginning, but a few months later, things started to change. So Kate's younger brother, who was 4 at the time, and her sister, who was 9, used to play together in the front bedroom. Now, this room will later become Kate's room. So one day they're playing in the front bedroom and they come running out of the front bedroom and they run over to Kate and they seem extremely shaken up. So when they run out of the room, she's like, what's going on? What's wrong? And they both tell her that they were playing in the bedroom and they hear this loud bang coming from the built-in wardrobe. And then they say that they heard a whisper coming from the wardrobe that said, "Let me play." But Kate doesn't really believe them, so she brushes this off. She thinks that they are trying to scare her because it is, after all, her bedroom. So she brushes this off for months because she doesn't want to really think about it, and she eventually does stop thinking about it until a few years later when things became much harder to ignore. So around 2014, 2015, her grandmother unfortunately suffers from a stroke, and she has to move in with the family. Kate and her family weren't really prepared for this, obviously. This is something sudden, and so they had to convert their garage into a proper room for the grandmother. But while that was being built, her mom turned their conservatory into a temporary bedroom, that's kind of like a sunroom. So the grandmother's there at this point, right? And every night they would all take turns to watch over the grandmother to make sure that she wouldn't fall, etc. But most of the time this responsibility would fall on Kate because her bedroom was closest to her grandmother's, and Kate didn't care about this, you know? She wanted to help her grandmother, so she was okay with this responsibility. One night, Kate and her grandmother go to bed and she falls asleep. In the middle of the night, she's sleeping and her eyes just open up for no reason. Kate has no idea why she woke up, but she does find herself staring straight through the conservatory windows into the garden. At that time, their garden was just trees. There was no lights, there was no decorations, nothing but darkness beyond the glass. And that's when she sees them. 2 men sitting on the fences, and they're just watching her. They were staring directly into her eyes, and they were far enough away that she shouldn't have been able to feel anything. She could feel their presence so strongly, it was suffocating. She said that what scared her the most, though, wasn't their stillness, it was their eyes. It was something about how deeply they were looking into her eyes and how deeply wrong it felt. After that night, she could not bring herself to sleep in that room again, and everything made her anxious. So a few months goes by with this, where she's just riddled with anxiety, and her mom and dad and brother all decide that they're going to go on vacation. They had arranged a temporary accommodation for her grandmother, and so she was just home alone most days. Now, she had just finished secondary school, so she would get home first and she would be by herself because her little sister would be at school still, and her older sister was actually studying for her master's degree in a different city. Well, one morning she wakes up and something is wrong. She can hear her family arguing downstairs. This is what she woke up to. She could clearly hear their voices, and at first she was confused because she was like, why are they arguing? And then she realized they were on vacation. So she just freezes in bed and she's trying to make sense of this situation when eventually she just yells out, "I know you're not home, so what are you doing downstairs?" Then the voices just stop. She said that the silence that followed was almost worse than them talking. But she's a bad bitch, so she decides that she's gonna go downstairs to check. She opens the door to go downstairs. Nobody is there. No movement, no sound, no nothing. And then she hears it. Something is scratching on the walls. At that point, her instincts just took over and she just booked it out of that house. As she's running, she can feel something behind her running directly behind her. She said that she could literally feel its breath on her neck. And then as it's breathing down her neck, she hears whispering. but she can't make out the words, but it's directly in her ear. She said that that entire week after that, everything just felt off. It felt completely wrong. She was terrified of that house. She was terrified of everything at this point, but at least her sisters were home now. That made her feel a little bit better because she wasn't home alone anymore, but then came the night that she cannot explain to this day. So one night, she's lying in her bed, she's trying to sleep, when she hears a knock on her window, her bedroom window. So at first she ignores it because she is trying to calm herself down. She's like, this is fine. This is nothing. This is probably just something outside hitting against the window. It's my anxiety. And then she hears tap, tap, tap. Something is now slowly and deliberately tapping on her window. She's just laying there in terror. She eventually gives in and she looks over at her window, and something is looking back at her that she still cannot explain to this day, that horrifies her. She said the only way to describe this would be the mixture of a crocodile, a hedgehog, and a rat. And I actually put this into ChatGPT and asked it what it would look like, and this is what I got. Now I'm not sure if this is what she saw because I haven't talked to her, but she said that its features did not make sense together, and yet there was staring at her through the glass, tapping on her window. She said that she just sat there forever, what felt like forever, trying to process what she was seeing until she just screamed at the top of her lungs. She said she just completely broke down at this point. And as she's breaking down, her sisters come running into the room and they're like, what is going on? What is wrong? And she's like pointing at the window, like, look at the window. And they look at the window and there's nothing there. She said that to this day, she still cannot explain what she saw. She can't explain any of what happened to her. She also said that she has never told anybody this story, but after seeing one of my videos, she decided that she would tell it because she felt like somebody might finally listen. So I did do some research to see if anybody had seen anything similar in the UK, and I couldn't really find anything. There were some sightings of people seeing very strange looking rats with maybe like those spikes or pines on them, whatever you call them. I don't even know what you call them. But I couldn't find anything with this description. So if anyone has ever experienced anything like this, especially specifically in the UK, please drop in the comments. So what did you guys think about that story? Because first of all, the part where her family is downstairs arguing, no thank you. And then the part where she's running out of the door and that thing is whispering behind her, also no thank you. But the last part, I cannot wrap my head around that. That is so crazy. But I do want to let you know that I believe you, and I know a lot of my followers will believe you. Even though there might be some hate comments, it depends on how far this video goes. We believe you. That's what we do here. We do not judge, and I am so sorry that you had to go through that alone and that you felt like you couldn't tell anybody. And I hope that getting this story out has helped you in some way, because that's a terrifying thing to go through alone and just kind of have that fester inside of you. But tell me what you guys thought the scariest part of the video was, and tell me what you think of this creature thing. I would love to know. Drop in the comments, but as always, please be respectful. And now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Cabin Lover 267, thank you so much for what you said. That was such a nice comment. I'm so glad that you like my stories. That means so much to me. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for leaving nice comments and for watching my videos and for telling me that. I love to hear that. And also, I just appreciate you, and I hope that you know that so much as an individual. Thank you. I love you. Jody Witter, thank you so much. You said that you listen to my stories while you're at work. I love that. I do that when I'm like working out, or I listen to them before I go to bed. I love doing that too. But I really appreciate that I can be that for somebody else. It means so much to me. So thank you for telling me that, and thank you for supporting me. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and leaving a nice comment and letting me know that. You have no idea how much I appreciate you as an individual. I love you, girl. And with that being said, my name is Kaisa, and I tell your paranormal experiences on here, or ones that you recommend to me, like 5 nights a week. So if you're into that, hit that follow button. I just need you to do 3 things for me. What are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. I love you guys so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs. I got an email from a girl saying that she had a terrifying experience with some type of creature that was mimicking Santa Claus. This story is nightmare fuel. So when Ashley was like 7 or 8 years old, she was in her bed and she was waiting for Santa Claus. She was super excited for Santa Claus to come, so she couldn't fall asleep. So it was around 3 or 4 a.m. at this time. Ashley and all the kids in her family had a personal tree in their room, and it was tradition in their household that Santa Claus would come into their room and he would leave one present underneath that personal tree. Like I said, she was super excited and she was really having a hard time falling asleep. She's just laying there wide awake, like staring at the ceiling, when all of a sudden she hears this big boom on top of the roof. It sounded like a loud crash, big bang. Now, she is certain at this point that Santa and his reindeer are on top of her roof, and she is terrified at this point because she's like, oh my god, if he comes, there's no chance he's coming into my room if I'm still awake. So she's just laying there trying her hardest to fall asleep when suddenly she hears She suddenly got this excited feeling in her gut, but this was not a good excited feeling. This was like pure anxiety. So she starts to get really nervous and scared, and then she hears it. Boom, boom, boom. There's footsteps, like loud boots coming up her stairs. It's important to note that her bedroom was at the far end of the hallway, and there was other rooms around her. Her brothers and sisters' rooms were around her. So she quickly closes her eyes because in her head, she's like, okay, I'm finally going to see Santa. But then she starts to hear slow stomping coming down the hallway, and these stomps are very far apart, and they're walking way too slowly. So it's giving off a very eerie vibe. And she suddenly hears her sister's door just kind of creak open, and then the sound stops for about 10 minutes. So whatever this was had walked into her sister's room and was in there for 10 minutes. She said at this point she was just left alone with this horrible silence. She did not feel right. And then she hears it again. These slow, steady footsteps, but now going into her brother's room across the hallway. Then there's another 10 minutes of silence, and at this point she is scared, but she still thinks it's Santa. She just thinks it's very weird, and maybe she's just afraid because this is something that she's not used to. And so she's thinking in her head, I'm not gonna get my gift because I'm still awake. 10 more minutes go by of just complete silence. So he is again, whatever this thing is in her brother's room for 10 minutes. And then she hears it walk out of the room, and she hears it pacing between rooms in the hallway. Finally, she hears this boom, 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 like loud stomping, but it's coming towards her room now. Then she hears something that really unsettles her, because as this thing is stomping down the hallway, it starts to take what sounds like nails, and it's just scratching the wall in the hallway. She said that connected to her room was a den, like a little living room, and that her door was closed, but it was cracked. So you wouldn't really need to open the door to actually see the door knob on the outside of the door, if that makes sense. Now, whatever this thing is stops right outside her door, and she cannot see it at this point, but she starts to hear it, because she can hear said that it was breathing right up against the crack of her door. It was allowing her to get a sense of how scratchy and low and weird it sounded. Then she starts to realize that this does not sound human. 30 minutes go by that this thing is just standing outside of her door, breathing. There was a little problem. She had to use the bathroom really bad, and this thing did not sound like Santa. She did not think that this was Santa anymore, and she was too afraid to get up and go to the bathroom. 20 more minutes go by of this until she sees something that still terrifies her to this day. She sees an extremely long arm reach for the door handle, and it's obviously connected to a hand, and these fingers are so big and long, they do not look human. None of it looks human. She said that the fingers were so big, they didn't even look like they could even wrap around the door handle, but they did. They did, and they opened the door, and then she saw the texture, and she said it looked so rough. She also said that it was shadowy, too shadowy to be a regular human. She then said that after this thing opens her door, it then shuts her door really quickly, and then it just starts walking up and down the hallway. It walks down the hallway, it comes back, it breathes into the crack of her door, opens her door, shuts it, and then walks down the hallway, and it repeats this pattern 2 more times, and it does this, and she said that she even heard it walking into her siblings' rooms again. Now, at this point, she's like, oh, I have to use the bathroom so bad, and there's no way in hell I am getting up. And so she just screams her mom's name. And as soon as she screams her mom's name, the breathing just stops. As her mom is walking down the hallway, she can get a clear view when she opens the door of her parents' room, and she can see that her father is sleeping in her parents' room. So she knows that there's no way that this thing was her parents. Not that she was thinking that her parents would do this anyways. She asks her mom, like, did you hear anything? I heard something walking down the hallway. I saw its long arm and hand reach for my door. It was breathing in my door. Something not human was just here. And her mom is like, no, you're tired. Like, you're just tired. You're seeing things. You need to go to sleep. Ashley says, I was wide awake. I know what I saw. And she said that Christmas morning was almost there. It was now 5:30 in the morning. She slept for a couple more hours, and then she woke up on Christmas morning, and there was a gift under her tree. She said that this was incredibly abnormal, and that nothing else like this has ever happened to her again, and that she still wonders to this day what this was, because it wasn't her siblings, and it definitely wasn't her parents, and she has no idea what it could be. What do you guys think of the story? This creeped me out so bad. I don't even know what I would do. Especially being 7 or 8 years old, can you imagine how much that would traumatize you? Like what you would think of Santa after that? I think every time I heard the word Santa after that, if that happened to me, I would just feel pure trauma. So I'm so sorry that happened to you, Ashley, because that's terrifying and that kind of ruins your experience in relation to Santa. But what do you guys think this was? Has anyone else had a weird experience like this with Santa or like the Easter Bunny or anything else like that? I would be interested to hear a story like that if you do, because that is so weird. Do you guys think it was some type of cryptid, like pretending to be Santa, kind of preying on the naivety of a child? I cannot speak today. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, opinions, and suggestions on the story, or questions even. Drop them below, because I'm sure she'll be seeing the comments. But as always, please be respectful. And now I'm gonna do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. PriveMZ_1. Thank you so much. You said that you live for these stories, and I love that so much. I'm so glad that you like them that much. That means so much to me. You have no idea. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for telling me that and being kind. I'm so glad that you are here, especially people who are just kind and leave cool comments. It just makes my day. So thank you for being a part of that. You are awesome and I love you. Bella XXX512. Thank you for thanking me for the stories. And you said that you look for them every day. I love it when people search for my stories, because that means you really like them. So thank you so much for liking them that much and being so supportive. Thank you so much for being a part of my community. Isn't that annoying when I get emails every 5 seconds, and you guys have no idea how annoying it is when I'm telling a story and it's just like bang, bang, and it ruins the story. Oh, sorry about that. Anyways, thank you for being a part of my community, and thank you so much for being kind and leaving kind comments, and especially for searching for me. You have no idea what your support means to me. It truly does mean so much to me. So I just wanted to show my appreciation and tell you that I love you. My name is Kaisa, and I tell your paranormal experiences on here like 5 nights a week. So if you're into that, hit that follow button. And I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much, my spooky babies. I'll see you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs. This girl emailed me and said that something was mimicking her cousin while her cousin was sitting right next to her. So for the story, we're gonna call this girl Ashley. So Ashley lives in the suburbs of Arizona, on like the outskirts. Where she lived was more farmland than the rest of her town. She was basically surrounded by desert or farmland. She did have 2 neighbors that lived nearby, but to get to like the main part of their town, you would have to drive like 10 minutes. The majority of the drive being desert with an occasional house or 2. So on this particular night, her and her 2 older cousins, which we're gonna call Daisy and Lily, were home alone because their parents were at a wedding. So they decided that they're going to invite their friend Lacey over because they don't want the house to feel so ominous and empty. It's important to note that the house was relatively big and it had a lot of huge open windows. She did say that her and her cousins were like siblings, and she called it ominous because she'd had experiences there before with her cousins. On this night, it's about 10 p.m. They're all sitting on the couch, they're watching a show, and they're just chatting. When suddenly Lacey zones out a little bit. She's just kind of staring at this sliding glass door that leads to the backyard. So she's just staring randomly outside for no reason, when all of a sudden she just snaps her head over at Ashley and Lily. She then just stands up, she starts walking over to the sliding glass door, and she's attempting to like look outside. And Lily and Ashley are kind of like, what are you doing? And then it's just kind of like, I swear when I was just sitting down, I saw Lily speed walking past the sliding glass door. At this point, they all think that she's just messing with them. So they all laugh it off and they're like, just come back, come sit on the couch. So at this point, Lacey is scared. She tries to laugh it off too, because she doesn't know how else to handle it. But as they're all sitting on the couch, Lily and Ashley start to notice that Lacey looks genuinely freaked out. About an hour goes by and they're all sitting on the couch, they're still watching TV and they're chatting, when suddenly they hear a voice coming from the other room. And it says, Ashley, come here real quick and help me. Except for there's a problem with this. It's in Ashley's brother's voice. And her brother is not there. He's at college, away. So they all stop and they're just sitting there staring at each other. They are horrified at this point. And Ashley's about to say something when suddenly, Ashley, in her brother's voice again. So at this point, Lacey stands up and she's about to say something when Lily and Ashley just hit her to stop. They don't want her to say anything. So they're all just standing there in fear, frozen. and minutes go by with just silence. After a few minutes of them just standing there, their way of kind of coping with this is they're like, you know what? We're just exhausted. We're tired. We're hearing things. It's fine. And we're just going to enjoy the rest of the night. And we're going to ignore this. We're going to pretend like it didn't happen. Well, a couple minutes later, Ashley's mom texts her and she says, I'm going to be home in about an hour or so. They're like, okay, bet. We're tired. We're going to go to sleep now. So they all decide that they're going to lay on the couch together and they all start kind of drifting off to sleep. As they're all laying there, Ashley sees something outside of the window again. She sees like this shadowy figure right outside of the glass door. And she looks over at Lacey and Lacey sees it too. And then they hear something that makes their heart stop because they hear this pattering sound, like something with wet feet is like running on tile. And they both look at each other and they both realize that it could not be coming from outside because those doors that lead to outside, that glass is soundproof. So now something is inside of the house running around with wet feet. So they wake up Lacey and they're like, Lacey, something with wet feet is running around the house. And at this point, Lacey is like, we need to get out of the house. There could be an intruder in the house. So they all they like quietly and slowly go grab their phones and their jackets and their shoes. And they decide that they're going to go to a fast food place until their mom gets home. And as they're walking to the front door, which you have to cross the hallway to get there, they see large, wet, bare footprints across the tile. So they book it out of there. Now, she said that after this incident, her whole house has just not felt the same at all whatsoever. And that now her stepdad and her mom are both having experiences themselves. Things such as like hearing sprinting down the hallway at night or something breathing down their neck. And now they're about to call a priest because they don't know what else to do. So what did you guys think of this story? Tell me whether you think that this was a mimic or not, or whether you think it was like a creature or a demon. I have no idea. So tell me what you thought the scariest part of the story was. And also, I am so sorry, you guys. I cannot do the shoutouts tonight because I have like no storage left on my phone, and I literally have 6 seconds left to say goodbye to you guys. Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a spooky night. I will see you tomorrow with a full story and the shoutouts. I love you. This girl sent me an email about a mimic in her house, and this girl came with receipts. She came with pictures, and this story is terrifying. So when Sarah was 7, she moved into a house that was in a somewhat rural neighborhood. The house seemed normal at first, but for some reason Sarah was nervous, and her 14-year-old brother, after about 2 weeks of living there, was the first person to start seeing things. Now her brother would voice this to her, and she was only 7 years old, so this obviously really scared her, and she said that she had experienced a few things too, like her and her sister were chased up the stairs at one point by something that they couldn't see, but the worst experience by far happened to her 5-year-old brother. So one day her 5-year-old brother is walking up the stairs and he stops because he sees Sarah is standing at the top of the stairs. So he calls out her name and she doesn't respond. So he's kind of like, wow, that's weird. So he starts walking up the stairs a little bit, but then he starts noticing something. Sarah's eyes are like this yellowish, weird color, like an off-white yellow color, and they're glowing. So this obviously startles him, so he turns on the light. And when he turns on the light, he sees this massive creature standing at the top of the stairs. It has this off-white, like glowing pits for eyes, these really long claws for fingers, and its jaw is unhinged about 2 feet wide. So he just starts screaming, runs back down the stairs, and he runs into Sarah's room, and he is absolutely sobbing hysterically. So she obviously is like, what is going on? What's wrong? And he could only describe it at his 5-year-old self as a very angry version of Sarah. He was only able to fully describe it when he was older. Things would only progress from here. So a couple days later, her dad was in his room when suddenly he starts to hear this sobbing sound, and it sounds like her older brother is just absolutely sobbing in the bathroom. So her dad, obviously concerned, walks into the bathroom. And as he's walking into the bathroom, he can see something like a shadow in the bathroom, but once he gets to the bathroom, he can't see anyone in there. There's nobody in the bathroom. And then he goes to find her brother to see what the hell is going on, and her brother was not crying in the bathroom. Then Sarah began to have like these very vivid nightmares, and she didn't explain exactly what they were, but she said that she had them almost every single night and that she still remembers them to this day. She also said that whatever this thing was only targeting her and her siblings. That was it. It was very, very seldom target her parents. So one day her and her siblings are all playing, and her little brother has a friend over, and the little brother's friend goes into the bathroom, and he comes out of the bathroom and he's like, hey, you guys need to let your dog out of the attic. Why is your dog in the attic? And they're all like, we don't have a dog. What are you talking about? And he's like, there's something in the attic. And then they hear this and it sounds like there's a dog in the attic scratching the floor, and then they hear this whimpering sound, and it sounds like a dog whimpering, but off, like not quite right. So they all get really scared and they go and tell their dad, listen, there's something in the attic. There's like an animal or something up in the attic. So the dad goes near the attic and he hears the sounds too. So he climbs up the attic stairs, and as soon as he does, the sound just stops, and he looks in the attic and there's nothing in the attic. Well, later on that night, her little brother stayed up later than everybody else did in the house, so he was kind of up alone, and he starts hearing that sound from the attic again. And this little kid is brave as, because he starts to go up in the attic, and he goes up the stairs, he opens the attic door. So the way that he described it is he could not really describe it. And she said that she's actually seen this dog before, and it's a form that this thing would sometimes take to scare them, and that the only thing that she could say is that it had these massive eyes that were this color that she had never seen before, that none of them had ever seen before, and that these eyes were so big that she still sometimes, when she's alone, just pictures seeing those eyes. She said it looked completely inhuman. It almost didn't even look like a dog. It was just in like a shape of a dog, but then also kind of a human. So it's kind of like a humanoid. And then a couple nights later, she starts to have this nightmare, and it's this very specific nightmare that she would have over and over again. And she would find herself in this like old 1960s style like kitchen. She said that this kitchen had somewhat like flickering dim lights, and that there was always this 17-year-old looking girl standing in the kitchen that would like welcome her in. She said that she explained this girl as looking exactly like a female version of her dad and her uncle when they were young. In one of these dreams, the girl comes up to her and tells her, very soon you are going to be able to sleep peacefully, I promise you. And a couple nights later, she had a dream where this girl chased off everything that had been scaring her and all of her nightmares, and she just stopped having the nightmares after that. So fast forward to 2017, they got ferrets. One's name was Marble, the other one's name was Blizzard, and then in 2018, they got another one named Sugar Cube. And she was so afraid of whatever this thing was hurting them, but it never hurt them ever. It would only do that to her, unfortunately. Now, unfortunately, Blizzard passed in 2023, and that's when she had another dream, and she saw this girl again, and the girl told her, you know, as she was holding Blizzard, don't worry, I will take care of him until you come and join us. Now, she said that although the nightmares stopped, the behavior from this mimic didn't stop. In fact, she would be at home alone sometimes, and she would hear this mimic screaming and crying, pretending to be her mother in danger. She said that it would pretend to be her ferrets and scratch at her door. It would literally pretend to be everybody that she knew. And in 2025, she finally managed to catch it on camera for the first time. And these are the pictures. Take a good look. This one right here, it's kind of hard to tell. You can see like the eyes on top, and then you can see the doorknob like right in the middle of it. It looks like a very skinny, tall figure. You can see it more in this picture right here. I can't see anything in this picture, so you guys are gonna have to tell me if you see anything, but these are the pictures. This one is creeping me out. She said that this is the form that it takes most often, is like this tall black figure with these yellow glowing eyes. Now, she said that usually this thing would only bother her inside, but that recently it did start to bother her outside. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is where she doesn't really understand if this thing is bad or if it's good, because she doesn't know if it's asking her for help or not. And I'm gonna tell you why. She said that recently she was outside and that her backyard is at like a forest area, and that it began calling her in a voice that she did not recognize. And it was telling her to come into the forest, and it was telling her that it needed help. She said that she ignored this the first time that it happened, because there was no way in hell that she was going to go into the forest after hearing this thing and after all that she had experienced. But later on that night, she's in bed and she's trying to sleep, and she hears this bang, bang, bang on her freaking window, on her bedroom window. So she's trying to ignore it because she knows what it is, and then she hears this scratching noise on her window, and it's literally doing this every single night. It is banging and scratching on her window and telling her to come out to the woods in the middle of the night. So after about 2 weeks of this happening, she finally gives in, and she actually goes outside, not at night, she does it during the day, and it leads her to this clearing in the middle of the forest. And in this clearing is like this playset thing. And she also said that there is this shed, like this little shed. She said that the shed reeked, literally smelled like, and that it was littered with black widow spiders. So her going inside of that shed was absolutely out of the question. And this is what the shed looks like. She said that walking near the shed gave her this intense feeling of dread, and it only got worse as she walked closer to it. And when she finally reached the point where she was like almost in the shed, but like a little outside of it, she just started to panic. Her ears started to ring. She started to cry uncontrollably, and she physically could not take another step forward. She said that she did eventually go to the other side of the shed, like in the back of the shed, and in the back of the shed, she saw this circle where there was like animal skulls, like in a circle, like they were deer skulls. And as soon as she saw this, she got the hell out of there, because she doesn't really understand the correlation between why this mimic led her to the shed and why there's like that activity behind the shed. She also said that her dad had confirmed to her by showing her a picture that the woman that she was seeing in her dreams, or that girl that she was seeing in her dreams, was in fact her father's triplet sister who had passed like years before. And I actually told a story about how that happened in another video. I'll tag that video if I can find it. I have to be able to find it to tag it. But this is what she left us with. It still bothers me, but I'm starting to wonder, why did it show me the shed, and why did it want me to see it so badly? Is it really evil, or does it need my help? So what do you guys think? I'm so sorry I don't have time to do the shout outs or anything, any commentary or anything, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this is bad, or do you think this is good? I gotta say, I don't think it's good because of the fact that it was scaring the crap out of them. Maybe it's two different things. Maybe she's mistaking it for two different things. Maybe there's two entities. I have no idea. But obviously one of them is not good. That's just my personal opinion. But drop your thoughts, opinions, suggestions in the comments. But as always, please be respectful. I love you guys so much. Keep sending me your scary stories, and have a spooky night. Spooky kisses, haunted hugs. I got an email from this girl who said that her and her friends went to the Appalachian Mountains, and one of her friends was literally knocked unconscious by some creature. So we're gonna call this girl Kelsey for the story. So when Kelsey was around 15, 16 years old, her and her two friends, we're gonna call them Chloe and Lacey, decided that they wanted to go to Kelsey's late grandparents' cabin in the Appalachian Mountains. None of them had driver's license at this time, and so her mom, Kelsey's mom, had to drop them off. And the only thing that Kelsey's mom said when she dropped them off is, don't go into the forest at night. She did not tell them about the rules at all. They did not know about the rules at all whatsoever. That's important to know. Now, she said that when they got into the cabin, they set their stuff down, and the only thing that they did do right is they locked the door. They left the windows unlocked, and they didn't close the curtains. It starts to get dark outside after they've put all their stuff away, so they decide that they're going to go to the living room and they're going to watch a couple of movies. They're sitting there enjoying the movie when suddenly they hear tap, tap, tap on the window. They all kind of look at each other like, why? What is that? So Chloe decides that she's going to get up and she's going to go over and open the curtain and see what's outside tapping on the window. So she does that, but she doesn't see anything. As she's walking back though, she did say that she had kind of a weird feeling in her stomach. After she sits back down, they resume the movie and they're just chilling when tap, tap, tap. Again, someone is knocking on the window. So Chloe gets up again. She checks the window again. Still nothing. She walks over. She sits back down. They resume the movie again. And then tap, tap, tap. Really loud on the window this time. This time, Lacey stands up. And Lacey is super annoyed at this point. So she goes over. She thinks that someone is messing with them. She opens the curtains. And as soon as she opens those curtains, she falls to the ground and starts screaming. Kelsey said that to this day, Lacey still will not talk about what she saw at that window. And the crazy thing was that they stayed there for a week, and this was only the first day. Well, the next day, Lacey is just traumatized at this point, and so she is like, I'm not leaving this house. I don't want to go anywhere. She won't talk about what she saw, nothing. And so Chloe and Kelsey decide that they're going to go on a hike in the mountains. So they go on a hike for a little bit. They're out there for about an hour when suddenly Chloe starts to feel sick, like very sick, and she has to sit down. As Chloe is sitting down, just kind of trying to make herself feel better, Kelsey said that she had this innate feeling that something was watching them. So Kelsey tells Chloe, like, I think we need to go. I feel like someone is watching us. And so they get up and they go back home. The only thing is when they walk through the door, Lacey is not home. She is not there. They check all the rooms. She's not there. They call her 7 times. They called her and she is not answering her phone. They don't really know what to do at this point. They're getting a little worried when Lacey suddenly walks through the door. And Kelsey said that when Lacey walked through the door after that, like that entire night, she was acting really odd. Like she wasn't acting like herself. So they all decide that they are going to go to bed, but not before locking all the windows, closing the curtains, and locking the door. Well, Kelsey goes into her room, she gets ready for bed, and she falls asleep. She wakes up at 5 a.m. because she hears tiles creaking, like someone is walking on the tiles outside of her door. She just kind of calls out, "Girls?" Silence. Nothing. So she gets up and she walks into their rooms. She walks into Lacey's room. Lacey's not in her room. She walks into Chloe's room. Chloe's not in her room. Suddenly, tap, 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 coming from the bathroom window, which is the only one without curtains. So bravely, Kelsey decides that she's going to walk over and check that window. And she goes over and checks and nothing is there. She thinks that maybe she was just hearing something. And so she decides to brush this off and go to bed. So she goes to bed and she wakes up the next morning and she walks outside of the room and she asks Chloe and Lacey, like, did you guys get up last night? And Lacey's like, nope. And Chloe's like, no, I thought that was you guys. Kelsey was a little confused about why she didn't see them in their beds, but I guess she kind of kept this to herself. She didn't really say anything about that. So that day was pretty uneventful. But later on that night, Chloe suggests that they go outside when it gets dark to watch the stars. This was the worst idea forever. She says that as they were watching the stars, they're laying on the grass and they're just looking up at the sky and they're admiring how beautiful the stars are in the mountains, because they live in the city and they are not the same in the city, and I can attest to that. They're just chatting, looking at the stars, when suddenly they hear this like creaking noise. It sounds like someone is stepping on a stick. Now they look behind them and they don't see anything, so they kind of just brush this off. They lay back down again, they're looking up at the stars, and now they're like counting the stars. And as soon as they're counting the stars, all of a sudden Lacey jumps up and she starts screaming, and she's like, something just grabbed my hair, something just grabbed my hair. Now Chloe and Casey are like, what do you mean something grabbed your hair? Like, are you okay? They're trying to comfort her at this point. And right as they're trying to comfort her, something grabs Lacey's hair and pulls her down so hard that she gets knocked out. Lacey said that as soon as this happened, she saw exactly what did this, and still to this day, over 5 years later, it still haunts her. She said she saw this pale, white-faced creature with Lacey's hair in its teeth as it was smiling, and there was all over its teeth. She's looking at this thing, and this thing is just looking back at her with Lacey's hair in its teeth, smiling at her and coming out of its mouth. As Kelsey is looking at this thing, absolutely horrified, she feels this big shove, and she gets shoved to the ground so hard that she hits her face on the ground, and now her mouth is... Looks like Chloe was just standing there screaming as Kelsey is on the ground. Lacey's still knocked out. At this point, Kelsey looks at Chloe and is just like, call my mom! Call my mom and tell her to come get us! Chloe runs inside of the house as Lacey is still knocked out, and Kelsey is just sitting there tasting her own in her mouth, and this thing is still behind her, and she can hear it, but she's not looking at it because she's terrified to look at this thing, and she doesn't know what else to do, but her face hurts, so she doesn't want to get up. Kelsey said that she laid there for what felt like forever until her mom came and picked them up, and her mom gets out of the car, helps. At this point, I think Lacey is awake at this point. She helps Lacey get into the back seat, she helps Kelsey get into the back seat, and Chloe gets into the front seat, and she said that Chloe was just crying the entire way home. Kelsey said that to this day, she still sometimes will see that white face, especially when she's going through something hard, which I think is absolutely terrifying. And she also said that it just haunts her in her nightmares. She can't get it out of her head. So what did you guys think about this story? What do you think this was? Has anyone ever heard of anything like this in the Appalachian Mountains? That might be the first story that I've heard where someone actually got like hurt, like by something that was haunting them. Not that it was haunting them, whatever this thing was, we don't know what it was, or maybe someone in the comments can say what they think it was, because I would love to know if you know, and I'm sure she would too. But I don't even know what to say about this story. It's pretty terrifying. But any thoughts, suggestions, comments that you have, please drop them below. And then I also want to know what you thought the scariest part of the story was. I probably know what it was, but now I'm going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Shab Nab Shan, I hope I said that correctly. I loved your comment. You said that you listen to my stories while you're doing everything, like making your lunches for your kids or doing housework. I love that so much. That's amazing. I listen to scary stories too, as you guys know, when I'm doing stuff. So I'm so glad that I get to be that for somebody else. You are the best. Thank you for being so supportive. You have no idea what that means to me. I loved that comment so much. It made me smile. So thank you for making my day. Thank you for being a part of my community, and thank you for being kind and leaving comments. You are the best. I love you. Priscilla Chicory, you left such a nice comment. Thank you so much for what you said. I feel like tonight I did not do the best job at telling my story because I am so exhausted. I don't know if you guys can tell. I tried my hardest to like get into it, but I literally am like falling asleep. But I wanted to tell you guys the story, but what you said was so nice. So thank you so much for leaving that comment. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and being kind and telling me that. Like that was a cool thing to say, and I really appreciated that. So I love you. Thank you. Instead of doing the outro tonight, I do have to say something, and I'm gonna make a video about this too. Guys, if you are a child, please don't send me your stories because I can't tell. In fact, I need you guys to tell me your age when you send me your stories from now on, because the problem is that I had to private a story the other day because I looked at the comment section and the person commented and said it was their story, and I went to their page and you were just way too young for me to be telling your story. So I'm sorry that I had to private your story, but I cannot be telling children's stories on here. It goes against my morals. Like I just don't feel right about it. So please guys, Send me your age when you send me your story. Other than that, I love you. Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a spooky night. This girl emailed me and said that something was mimicking her cousin while her cousin was sitting right next to her. So for the story, we're gonna call this girl Ashley. So Ashley lives in the suburbs of Arizona on like the outskirts. Where she lived was more farmland than the rest of her town. She was basically surrounded by desert or farmland. She did have 2 neighbors that lived nearby, but to get to like the main part of their town, you would have to drive like 10 minutes. The majority of the drive being desert with an occasional house or two. So on this particular night, her and her 2 older cousins, which we're gonna call Daisy and Lily, were home alone because their parents were at a wedding. So they decided that they're gonna invite their friend Lacey over because they don't want the house to feel so ominous and empty. It's important to note that the house was relatively big and it had a lot of huge open windows. She did say that her and her cousins were like siblings, and she called it ominous because she'd had experiences there before with her cousins. On this night, it's about 10 p.m. They're all sitting on the couch, they're watching a show, and they're just chatting. When suddenly Lacey zones out a little bit. She's just kind of staring at this sliding glass door that leads to the backyard. So she's just staring randomly outside for no reason, when all of a sudden she just snaps her head over at Ashley and Lily. She then just stands up, she starts walking over to the sliding glass door, and she's attempting to like look outside. And Lily and Ashley are kind of like, what are you doing? And then it's just kind of like, I swear when I was just sitting down, I saw Lily speed walking past the sliding glass door. At this point, they all think that she's just messing with them. So they all laugh it off and they're like, just come back, come sit on the couch. So at this point, Lacey is scared. She tries to laugh it off too, because she doesn't know how else to handle it. But as they're all sitting on the couch, Lily and Ashley start to notice that Lacey looks genuinely freaked out. So about an hour goes by and they're all sitting on the couch, they're still watching TV and they're chatting, when suddenly they hear a voice coming from the other room. And it says, Ashley, come here real quick and help me. Except for there's a problem with this. It's in Ashley's brother's voice. And her brother is not there. He's at college, away. So they all stop and they're just sitting there staring at each other. They are horrified at this point. And Ashley's about to say something when suddenly, Ashley, in her brother's voice again. So at this point, Lacey stands up and she's about to say something when Lily and Ashley just hit her to stop. They don't want her to say anything. So they're all just standing there in fear, frozen. And minutes go by with just silence. After a few minutes of them just standing there, their way of kind of coping with this is they're like, you know what? We're just exhausted. We're tired. We're hearing things. It's fine. And we're just going to enjoy the rest of the night. And we're going to ignore this. We're going to pretend like it didn't happen. Well, a couple minutes later, Ashley's mom texts her and she says, I'm going to be home in about an hour or so. They're like, okay, bet. We're tired. We're going to go to sleep now. So they all decide that they're going to lay on the couch together and they all start kind of drifting off to sleep. As they're all laying there, Ashley sees something outside of the window again. She sees like this shadowy figure right outside of the glass door, and she looks over at Lacey, and Lacey sees it too. And then they hear something that makes their heart stop, because they hear this pattering sound, like something with wet feet is like running on tile. And they both look at each other and they both realize that it could not be coming from outside, because those doors that lead to outside, that glass is soundproof. So now something is inside of the house running around with wet feet. So they wake up Lacey and they're like, Lacey, something with wet feet is running around the house. And at this point, Lacey is like, we need to get out of the house. There could be an intruder in the house. So they all go grab, they like quietly and slowly go grab their phones and their jackets and their shoes. And they decide that they're going to go to a fast food place until their mom gets home. And as they're walking to the front door, which you have to cross the hallway to get there, they see large, wet, bare footprints across the tile. So they book it out of there. Now, she said that after this incident, her whole house has just not felt the same at all whatsoever. And that now her stepdad and her mom are both having experiences themselves. Things such as like hearing sprinting down the hallway at night, or something breathing down their neck. And now they're about to call a priest because they don't know what else to do. So what did you guys think of this story? Tell me whether you think that this was a mimic or not, or whether you think it was like a creature or a demon. I have no idea. So tell me what you thought the scariest part of the story was. And also, I am so sorry, you guys, I cannot do the shout outs tonight because I have like no storage left on my phone, and I literally have 6 seconds left to say goodbye to you guys. Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a spooky night. I will see you tomorrow with a full story and the shout outs. I love you. This girl emailed me and told me that there was a mimic in her aunt's house that was mimicking her aunt's voice, and she ended up seeing this thing. So when Kaylee was in high school, her and her sister would go to her aunt's house for the summer. When she turned 16 years old and her sister was 18 years old, her aunt moved to a farm. That summer, they got really excited to go to help around the farm, to see the animals, etc. Now, her and her sister had a room that they would share in this house, and she said that the first few weeks that they were there, everything was fine. She would occasionally get this feeling of dread, but she would kind of just shake it off as to her not being comfortable in a new house. However, that feeling ended up being valid, and what happened in this house was an experience that she will never forget. So one night, she goes to bed and she wakes up in the middle of the night, and her heart is racing and she's sweating and she's terrified for some reason. She doesn't know why. She looks over at the clock and it's 3 a.m. She does, however, realize that she is thirsty, and so she quietly gets up to go get water from the kitchen. So she goes down into the kitchen, she's grabbing the water is running, when suddenly she hears Kaylee. So she's startled at this point, but she thinks that it's her aunt because it's in her aunt's voice. So she turns around and nothing is there. So at this point, she thinks that her brain is just playing tricks on her. So she quickly drinks the water and she goes to put it down in the sink. And as soon as she goes to put it down, she hears this very slow walking coming down the hallway. Just like boom, boom, boom. This feeling of dread that she had earlier is now 10 times worse. So she closes her eyes and she's just telling herself, as she's hearing this walking slowly come closer to her, nothing is there, nothing is there, nothing is there. And then she quickly opens up her eyes and she runs down the hallway and she jumps in her bed and gets underneath the covers. As she's underneath the covers, she starts hearing that slow walking again, and it's right outside of her bedroom door, and it's just walking up and down the hallway, and it's saying, Kaylee, Kaylee, in her aunt's voice. She said that this went on all night long. She does fall asleep though, and she wakes up at around 8 o'clock in the morning. Her sister is still asleep, but she can hear her aunt in the kitchen. So she goes into the kitchen to say good morning to her aunt, and her aunt says her normal good morning, and then her sister gets up, and her sister walks into the kitchen. And then her aunt looks at both of them and she goes, what were you two doing up last night running around? At this point, Kaylee's stomach just drops, and then her sister replies, I was asleep. So Kaylee looks at her aunt. She tells her aunt what happened, and her aunt just looks at her and just goes, that didn't happen. Like, she doesn't believe her at all. And then she tells her, don't talk about that anymore. She said for the next week this would happen. She would fall asleep, she would wake up at 3 a.m., she would hear her aunt walking slowly down the hallway and calling her name. It would be like whispering, like, Kaylee, Kaylee. She's the only one experiencing anything at this point, so she truly thinks that it's just her imagination. Until the weekend of the 4th of July. They do their normal celebration, they have a barbecue, fireworks. Well, at one point in the night, everybody except for her and her sister end up leaving. They go out to do something, and so it's just her and her sister at home. So they decide that they want to watch a movie in the living room. So they start watching the movie. They're about 45 minutes into the movie, and it's about 10:30 at night, when suddenly Kaylee hears Kaylee in her aunt's voice. She immediately freezes, but then she chooses to ignore it. But then she hears it again. It's a little louder. And then she hears it again, but it's a little louder than the time before. Just getting louder and louder until it's like, Kaylee! After that last loud one, her sister slowly turns her head to Kaylee and says, that's not Tracy. Tracy is their aunt's name. So Kaylee goes, you heard that? And she goes, I've been hearing it every single night since the first night we got here. Well, they decide that the only thing to do is to ignore it and turn up the volume on the TV. So that's exactly what they do. And the voice actually stops. Well, a couple hours pass and they decide that they're gonna go to bed. So they walk upstairs, they go into their room, and they're just chilling in their room when suddenly they hear the front door open and they hear their aunt go, hey girls, I'm home. Now, Kaylee said that it sounded like her, but something was off, and she just immediately feels dread. Well, her sister gets up to go open the door, and right before she goes to touch the doorknob, Kaylee goes, don't open that, that's not Tracy. So her sister stops and she slowly turns around and starts walking towards the bed when they hear girls, and then they hear boom, 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 these insanely loud footsteps that are walking towards their room, absurdly loud. And then just like that, the door opens and the footsteps stop, and then her aunt, really her aunt, calls out, Kaylee, Jessica. Now they're just kind of frozen in their room. They don't really know how to even respond to this. So their aunt comes into their room and she sees that they are both pale as ghosts hiding underneath the covers. They're literally shaking, they're so scared, and they tell her what happened. And this time she sits down and she tells them something different than she had told them prior. She tells them that since the second week she moved in there, she has been experiencing the same thing, but it stopped right when the girls got there. Now, her aunt at this point is like, listen, I'm worried for your safety at this point. I don't think you should be here anymore. So she calls their grandma and tells their grandma to come pick them up. But Kaylee said that what haunts her more than anything that happened at that house that summer was what happened this night. That night, they all sleep in her aunt's room. She wakes up in the middle of the night. You guessed it, it's 3 a.m. So she sits up and she starts rubbing her eyes. And as she's rubbing her eyes, she feels on the side of her face. Mind you, she is on the left side of the bed, on the edge of the bed, and nobody is to the left of her. And then she hears Kaylee in this sing-song voice, but it's a voice that she doesn't recognize. It's not her aunt's voice, so she tries to ignore it. But then again, another breath, but this time it's coming from right in front of her face. And then she hears Kaylee, a little louder this time. Then she feels the bed on her right side shift, and then the breathing just stops. And then she hears those loud footsteps stomp to the other side of the bed. And then she hears Jessica, her sister's voice, in this whisper sing-song voice. So she slowly looks over at her sister, and that's when she sees it. It's this super tall, like 8 foot tall, large shadow thing crouching over her sister, just going, Jessica. So at this point, she's like, I cannot take this anymore. She quickly looks over to the nightstand and she turns on the light, and then everything just stops. Now, she said that she doesn't know if this was her brain making up an image because of what she was hearing, or if she actually saw something, but that she did see something. Just was it real? She doesn't know. But her sister woke up at this point too, and they stayed up for the rest of the night. They could not fall asleep. Now, she said that the next morning, her and her sister left, and that they refused to ever go back to their aunt's house, and that she won't talk about it with her sister. She won't talk about it with anybody. Nobody really talks about it. And so she still doesn't know to this day if her sister saw what she saw. So what did you guys think of this story? So creepy, right? I don't like the ending part where she was like crouching over her sister and saying her name. Oh, the whole thing was so creepy. The slowly walking down the hall and just hearing your name being called all night long is so creepy to me. I swear, mimic stories really get me. They really creep me out. But what did you guys think the scariest part of the story was? And do you think this was a mimic, or do you think it was something else? Because that is a question to ask. And do you think that she really saw that night, or do you think she was imagining it? I think she really saw it, especially if she was experiencing everything else, and especially if her aunt was experiencing it too, then obviously there was something in that house. So why would her ears be not be playing tricks on her, but her eyes be playing tricks on her? You know, that doesn't really make sense to me. I think she saw something. But tell me what you thought the scariest part of the story was, and also your thoughts, opinions, and questions, suggestions down in the comments. But as always, please be respectful. Now my favorite part, the shout outs. The first one is Vanessa.Morgan83. Thank you so much for what you said. You said that I was your favorite spooky storyteller, and I love that so much. You have no idea what that means to me. I have to talk really fast because I have like no time left. Thank you so much for being in my community. Thank you so much for being kind. You have no idea what your support means to me. I wish I could say more, but I don't have time. But just know that I appreciate you and I love you, girl. Morgan Hunt 90. Thank you so much for saying that you appreciated that I was a safe space for you guys to tell your stories, because that's all I want to be for you guys, and that means so much to me that you recognize that, and I'm so glad that you feel that way. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for being kind and supporting me. You have no idea what it means to me. I wish I could say more. I love you so much, girl. And my name is Kaisa. I don't have time for the outro, but keep sending me your scary stories. Have a spooky night, and I love you guys so much. Spooky kisses, haunted. So I realized in the last video that I posted that I forgot to add the picture of the shed, so I'm going to show it to you guys right now. This is the picture of the shed that she was talking about. She didn't go inside of it, but like creepy vibes. So there's the picture of the shed. Sorry, I totally forgot to add it when I was editing.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Hi, so I know that I have been gone for a really long time and I haven't explained where I've been, and I'm so sorry that I did that to you guys. I've been going through something personal and I just needed a break from doing so much content. As you guys know, I am a full-time content creator on a beauty page and this page, and it was just becoming too much. I did not have a life at all, and I was also going through something that I just needed to like de-stress. So it will probably be a couple, like 2 more weeks before I post another story. I'm so sorry. But I will be back. I'm not going to be gone forever. And for those of you who have been reaching out, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. My inbox is so full. So if I haven't gotten to you, I'm not ignoring you. But I love you guys. I miss you so much. I miss telling the story so much. And I promise you, this account is not dead. It's not over. I'm coming back. But for now, I just need a little bit more time to kind of reset. Okay? I love you guys. So I'm alive, for those of you who are wondering. I know I haven't posted in like a week and a half to 2 weeks. I will be back, I promise. I just needed a little break. I went to go see my family. I surprised my mom for Mother's Day. And actually, I went to, what's it called, Mom? Mayport. I went to Mayport and saw that place where that girl who sent me that story saw that monster and like looked around, and I have a video of it and it's kind of cool and I want to show you guys that. But other than that, I will be back within the next couple days posting, and I'm sorry that I haven't been posting any stories, but I love you guys and I miss you, and I will see you after my trip. Love you, bye. Hi, so I know that I have been gone for a really long time and I haven't explained where I've been, and I'm so sorry that I did that to you guys. I've been going through something personal and I just needed a break from doing so much content. As you guys know, I am a full-time content creator on a beauty page and this page, and it was just becoming too much. I did not have a life at all, and I was also going through something that I just needed to like de-stress. So it will probably be a couple, like 2 more weeks before I post another story. I'm so sorry. But I will be back. I'm not going to be gone forever. And for those of you who have been reaching out, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. My inbox is so full. So if I haven't gotten to you, I'm not ignoring you. But I love you guys. I miss you so much. I miss telling the stories so much. And I promise you, this account is not dead. It's not over. I'm coming back. But for now, I just need a little bit more time to kind of reset. Okay? I love you guys.
To read some more scary stories that were sent to us. A couple of years ago, it was me and my best friend. We would go camping with their family, and I would stay at their house a lot. Both of us are witches, and we believe in spirits. Every time I would sleep over at my friend's house on their living room sofa, I would get weird dreams, normally with a spooky entity or something just off. The entities I saw in my dreams were always pure black, sometimes inky, if that makes sense. One night I had a dream about being on my friend's farm with their grandma, and I was outside and it was getting dark when all of a sudden I see a large wolf-like creature. It was pure black and it was pouncing at me, and I woke up sweating and in shock. I looked around, no clue what time it was, and I feel at least 3 spirits in the room with me, which isn't unusual for my friend's house, since we're sure it's a portal for them. One of them was kind of comforting in a way. She didn't do anything. The others were men, and one of them was having the time of his death, freaking me out. He was just staring at me. Somehow I managed to go back to sleep, and when I mentioned the dream to my friend the next morning, they said they had the exact same dream as me, except the wolf creature was pure white. We've also done big slumber parties at their house, and boy do we attract spirits. There have been nights where I was so overstimulated by the amount of spirits in the house, I started sobbing and was in physical distress. I've always lived with spirits, so it's a normal thing for me, but my friend's house being a portal and having so many spirits is really draining sometimes. I was having a sleepover at my house with my cousins when I was 13. It was all normal, we were sharing secrets, watching movies. When it came to sleeping arrangements, me and my younger cousin slept in the spare room in our basement. My cousin fell asleep really fast, but I had a hard time falling asleep. I started to hear someone calling my name. It repeated my name 3 times and stopped. It was clear as day, as if someone were standing on the basement stairs. I checked to see if anyone was there, but I saw nothing and eventually fell asleep. The next day, I asked my other cousins if they were playing a prank on me, and they all insisted they were sleeping. A few days later, I was cleaning the house, and I went down to the basement, and there I saw a shadow on the basement wall. It looked like a little girl with pigtails or something. I ran upstairs and never went down there again. Now I have a house of my own, a baby boy and a husband, and I swear I still hear my name being whispered. One night, me and some of my closest friends went on a camping trip in the middle of the forest. While we were out there, one of my friends went to use the bathroom, but he suddenly came back running and repeating, "Everyone, we have to go. Everyone, we have to go." We tried asking him why, asleep while me and my other friends stayed awake. That's when we heard it. Loud screaming and chanting that we couldn't understand. We shook our sleeping friends awake and immediately started to pack up and run to the car quickly. Then we saw a group of people wearing bright white robes running towards our car. They were throwing rocks at the car and banging on it. We drove out of there quickly and got away, but it still haunts me to this day.
We are fearing for our life right now. We are at a sleepover with 4 people. Me, Sadie, Lucy and Rose, okay? Yeah. Now, basically, my mum said, I live in a small town, okay? No one really here, no gangs, no creeps. We're allowed to go out anytime we want, like 1 AM, because it's a safe area, okay? So we went out at 10. You know, not late, you know, like not that late. So we went out, and as we were walking, we saw the same car circle twice around this area.
Each time we were visible.
Each time we were visible, and he turned, you know when you can turn the lights on more, he did that when we were passing. So as we were walking down the road, we got really scared because we saw this car pass twice, as I just said. So we went back to my house and we stayed there for sprinting. We sprinted there for we stayed there for a minute.
So basically, we were hiding behind the bins. We saw headlights. So we saw headlights. We heard the noises, and then it just turned off.
So meaning a car was parked not directly outside our house, but to the side. Meaning someone was definitely waiting for us there. Now this is where it gets creepy.
And basically, there we saw 5 cars. 3 were black, 2 white.
Meaning they were circling around my house. Then, this is the part where it gets really creepy. So basically, we were still outside the bins by this point. We were about to run inside, but we didn't want the cars to see us. As the car was parked outside, a guy got out of the car and had a flashlight and started turning it towards my house. So at this point, we run back inside my house and we go into my room. We told my mum by this point. She doesn't really care. So we opened.
She thinks we're overreacting.
Yeah, which is fair enough because we are younger. So, and we're over 18 now. We're 18. Yeah, TikTok. So we look out the window and there are constant cars passing by. But the thing is, I feel like we were being watched.
I have never seen this. Sounds ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I said that. I have not felt this kind of thing. I was genuinely, he was waiting outside our house for us to go out again.
And basically, the torch is off now, but there was a flashlight. And then when we were up here, there was a flashlight.
We said the same thing.
No, we didn't. We started waving, and then it was a handheld flashlight. We started waving, then turned off.
So yeah, that's our story, guys. Pray for us.
Want to get creeped out? Let's talk about a Reddit user who played the closet game. Me and my friends played the closet game. Me too, before I came out. I hate paranormal games. When I say hate, I mean hate. For my 15th birthday party, I didn't want to have anything big. I'm antisocial. So I decided to just have a sleepover with a few close friends. It was me and 3 other girls. I won't give their names for privacy reasons. One of my friends had recently heard about the closet game and really wanted to play. I, of course, refused, but the other girls said that they wouldn't mind trying it. I didn't want to look like a chicken, and I didn't want to be left out, so I said that I would try it once. First, I wanted to know what it was. She explained that it was a game that could potentially connect you to another dimension by means of the closet. These were the steps. Take a book of matches, turn off all the lights in the room, including the closet light, open the closet door, 1 person at a time, 2 people can't play together, enter the closet, close the door behind you, stand in the darkness for 2 minutes, facing the door, take a match, not lighting it, say, show me the light, or leave me in the darkness. Listen carefully. If you begin hearing feet whispering, light the match immediately. If you don't hear anything and the match doesn't light itself, don't turn around. If you don't light the match fast enough, it means you drag into internal darkness. Keep the match lit. If it goes out on its own, relight it. Open the closet door slowly and walk out. Don't turn around. From now on, whenever you open or enter your closet, the light has to be on. I was scared hopeless. I didn't want to play this game. The girl that wanted to play it did it first. It lasted for about 5 minutes, and then she came out. She claimed that she felt uneasy, but nothing else. Of course, I should have known that this game was fake, right? The second girl went and came out within 5 minutes as well. She said that she felt uneasy and heard a couple thuds, but that it was probably nothing. I wasn't scared at this point, so I volunteered to go next. I brought a match and entered the dark, cold closet. Shivers went down my spine, and I started trembling. I lied to myself. I was scared. I stood for 2 minutes, then said, show me the light or leave me in darkness.
time I met was a skeptic and said that she didn't believe me. The other girls were convinced. The skeptic girl was the last to go, and she had not a trace of fear on her face. She went in and we left the room until we heard her lock the door again. Here's the thing, it took her 7 minutes to come out. Everyone before her, an average of girls, had only taken 5 minutes. When she opened the door, it wasn't slow. It was like she almost broke the door down. Her eyes were huge as she slammed the door behind her. Then she saw us. She looked shocked to see us, and then quickly regained composure, like she was trying to hide something. She looked at us and said that she wasn't feeling well and wanted to go home. We were confused. She was fine before the game. Fine. She told my mom, and then she got her stuff ready to leave. Before she walked out the door, she whispered something in my ear that I will never forget. Never play the closet game again. It is better to be left in darkness than to see their light. I listened to her, and I haven't played it since. I never saw that girl ever again. What scares me the most is that even though the timer said she had spent 7 minutes in the closet, I have no idea whether she actually spent that much time in there or more. Safe to say that wasn't 7 minutes in heaven. That one was creepy, I thought. What did you guys think? I liked it.